All right, today we're going to look at a totally different way to think about a trip to Egypt. We're going to go way beyond the usual package tour and figure out how you can find the journey that's actually meant for you. So let me ask you, when I say the word Egypt, what's the very first picture that pops into your head? Just take a second.
Yeah, it's the pyramids, right? Almost always. Or, maybe the Nile. And for most of us, that's kind of where the imagination starts, and sometimes where it stops. But what if that one single image is actually holding you back from a way deeper, way more meaningful experience?
This brings us to the core idea for today, what we're calling the Egyptian multiverse. Think about it this way. Egypt is just too big, too complex, and too rich to be squeezed into one generic plan. It's really a collection of completely different worlds, all existing in the same country. So here's the absolute key to all of this. Your trip is completely transformed the moment you set an intention. Are you going for ancient history, amazing food, or just total solitude? Choosing your path before you even get on the plane, well, that changes everything. It's the key to unlocking a truly unforgettable journey. Okay, so let's dive in, and we'll start where pretty much everyone's mind goes first: the deep, deep past. But even here, there are two profoundly different ways you can connect with Egypt's ancient story. You've got two totally different options here. On one side, there's the archaeological path. This is all about grand human achievement and just pure awe. And on the other, you have the spiritual path, which is more of a personal quest for inner peace and quiet reflection. They might happen in the same country, but believe me, their goals are worlds apart. So this first path, the archaeological one, is about trying to wrap your head around civilization on an epic scale. Of course, you've got the big names: Giza, Luxor, the Valley of the Kings. But the new Grand Egyptian Museum, that's a total game changer. It's like a curated gateway that finally tells the whole story from start to finish. And if you really want to geek out, you go to Saqqara to see the world's very first massive stone building, and then to Dashur, which was basically the R&D lab where they figured out how to build a perfect pyramid. And when you see these places side by side, you really get it. The archaeological path is all about massive human-made splendor. The spiritual path, on the other hand, is about finding something meaningful in these vast, sacred landscapes. Now, the spiritual path is all about faith and looking inward. You might follow the Holy Family Trail, which is this incredible pilgrimage through Egypt's ancient Christian history. Or you could find yourself in the legendary silence of Mount Sinai. The thing is, and this is super important, you really can't do both this and the archaeological tour. You have to make a choice. Trade the noise and the crowds for quiet and connection. All right, let's jump forward a few thousand years, from the ancient stones to the living, breathing, pulsing energy of modern Egypt. This path is for anyone who believes that, history isn't just in some dusty old ruin. It's in the people, it's in the streets, and it's in the stories that are happening right now. It's about connecting with a history that's still being lived. And wow, the sheer variety here is just incredible. You can get lost in the winding streets of Islamic Cairo, then turn a corner and explore the ancient churches of Coptic Cairo. Or you could head north to Alexandria, which has this completely different Mediterranean vibe. Go way down south, and you'll find the stunningly colorful Nubian villages. And for something truly unique, you could even check out the canal cities. Not many tourists go there, but they offer this fascinating look at modern Egyptian life. And you just can't talk about culture without talking about food, especially in Egypt. Seriously, it's not just something you eat to get by. It's an institution. This path is for anyone who wants to literally taste the culture. So your flavor journey probably kicks off in Cairo, right? Hitting the streets for the absolute classics like koshari, that amazing bowl of pasta, rice, lentils, and sauce. But it doesn't stop there. The food changes so much depending on where you are. Head to the coasts, and it's all about incredible fresh seafood. Go down to Nubia, and you'll find these unique stews with a sweeter flavor that you just won't find anywhere else. Okay, so from the bustling heart of the cities, we're going to swing to the complete extremes. We're talking about the paths that are either about total blissful relaxation or rugged hardcore adventure. And this really comes down to a choice. What are you looking for? Do you want to just completely unplug at a beautiful resort? Or are you the kind of person who wants to push your limits and explore some truly dramatic, empty landscapes? These two paths couldn't be more different. So, the leisure path, this is pretty straightforward. It's all about kicking back and taking it easy. This is your classic Red Sea resort vacation in places like Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh. famous for some of the best diving in the world. Or you could do a Nile cruise, which is basically a floating hotel that just delivers you right to the front door of these ancient wonders. It's sightseeing without any of the stress. But then you have the total opposite. And honestly, this might be the most surprising path of them all. This journey shows you an Egypt that I promise you most people have no idea even exists. A land of landscapes so strange, they feel like they're from another planet. I mean, just listen to these places. You can go to the Valley of the Whales and see 40-million-year-old, perfectly intact whale skeletons in the middle of the desert. You can camp out in the White Desert among these surreal chalk formations that look like giant alien mushrooms. Or you can find true, deep quiet in the remote Siwa Oasis. This is Egypt at its absolute wildest. So, okay, we've just looked at 6 completely different Egypts all coexisting in one country. What in the world do you do with all this information? How do you actually plan a trip that feels meaningful? This right here might be the single most important thing to remember. If you try to do a little bit of everything, one day for ruins, one day at the beach, one fancy meal, you're going to dilute every single moment. You'll end up with a checklist of things you saw, but not a real experience. So it all comes down to making a choice. You got to ask yourself, which of these paths really speaks to me? Am I the seeker drawn to the spiritual path, the expert who wants to dive deep on the archaeological path, or the explorer ready for the nature path? Your answer is going to change everything about your trip. And to make it super simple, here's a great way to kick things off. Once you know your main path, just start at its gateway. If you're all about archaeology, make the Grand Egyptian Museum your very first stop to get the big picture. If it's a food journey, start with a street food tour in Cairo. This focuses your energy and your experience right from day one. And at the end of the day, look, this isn't about having some perfect minute-by-minute itinerary. It's much simpler than that. It's just about having a clear intention. When you know why you're going and what you're really looking for, you create the space for the right version of Egypt to open up and show you its wonders. You just have to choose your path and then let it happen.